Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to go through and describe how to apply for the Youth Empowered Speakers Program. Welcome and acknowledgements. We are grateful to be here on the territory of the Wet'suwet'en people in the village of Huiaplet. We also want to offer a special acknowledgement to everyone who has contributed to the program by holding on to their language and continuing to learn it. All of the mentors, elders, and all who are residential and day school survivors, as well as all of our apprentices. This is an interactive slideshow. There will be links provided below this video for what I am describing, and if you have any questions after watching the video, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at yes@fpcc.ca or give us a call at 250-652-5952 extension 119. This is an agenda of what I will be covering today. I will describe who the First Peoples Cultural Council is, what is the Youth Empowered Speakers Program, and how you can apply. I would just like to take a second to introduce the Yes and MAP team. So my name is Becky Wesley, and I am the Language Program Associate for the Youth Empowered Speakers Program. I will be your main point of contact for any questions that come up. I'm happy to answer them, but on my greater team as well, we have Aurora Scala, who is the Language Program Coordinator for the MAP and Yes program, and then Anna Sosha, who is the Language Program Associate for the MAP program, and Peter Underwood, who is the Language Program Navigator. So we're happy to answer any questions that come up by phone or email during the application process and throughout the program year. So about First Peoples Cultural Council, we are an Indigenous run corporation and have been around since 1990. We service 204 First Nation communities as well as urban Indigenous organizations. We support the revitalization of 36 different languages, and there is also a list of the languages on this page as well in the link. In addition to providing language revitalization funding, we also provide cultural heritage grants and arts grants. We also provide training and professional development, as well as sharing resources and coaching communities that want to revitalize their language. And we encourage you to sign up for our newsletter to keep up to date on all news and apply for our grants. I'm going to just read our vision statement for you. Indigenous languages, arts, and cultural heritage in BC are thriving. The knowledge and worldviews expressed through Indigenous languages, arts, and cultural heritage are valued as essential to our collective well-being and human rights. And I did want to add too that when we talk about language revitalization, we don't use words like dying or dead languages. We talk about sleeping languages because in many cases there's still a possibility of revitalizing a language even if there are no living fluent speakers. Sometimes, many times, there are recordings or written texts in the language. So even if your language has only one speaker left or no speakers, we can talk to you about what might be possible with revitalization. So who is eligible for the YES program? BC First Nation adults aged 18 to 35, from a BC First Nation, living on or off reserve in BC, they can have status or non-status, and are learning one of our 36 Indigenous BC languages listed here in the link. And the youth also must be able to provide proof of acceptance into a post-secondary program by June 26, 2026. And for our third stream for language revitalization stream, program of study must be pre-approved by FPCC staff. So if you have any questions about that, you can send us an email and we'll go into it a bit in detail further on as well. So in the Youth Empowered Speakers program, we also use the Mentor-Apprentice method, which is one-on-one language program where a motivated youth and a fluent speakers spend time in language immersion. So this means bringing in the language into your everyday life. It requires a high level of commitment and motivation, increases fluency for adult learners, strengthens intergenerational relationships, recognizes expertise of elders and mentors, and can lead to healing and enhanced well-being. So here are some outcomes of the Youth Empowered Speakers Program in BC. Enables learners to connect with their language and increase their fluency and get a career-focused education at the same time. They gain experience and build connections in your desired field. Increase community interest in language. Builds language leadership to inspire others to go further and become language champions. Has a positive influence on children in the community. So about being a mentor for the Youth Empowered Speakers Program, we just want to point out that there is no teaching experience required because what the mentor is doing is providing that fluent immersion environment for the youth. There's no need to be a teacher, you just have to be able to speak the language and share that with the youth. The program is not a reading and writing program. It is designed to create oral fluency. The mentor just needs to be able to commit to spending the time to speak the language with the youth. We provide examples of activities for the mentors and youth that they can do in the language, and we provide training and coaching throughout the year as well. Mentors are awarded $40 an hour for immersion hours after their youth submits their reports on their hours. So for the youth, no language experience is needed for the program. All training is provided. People may be able to apply and can be close to fluent or an advanced speaker, or they can apply and only know one word in the language. So the level doesn't apply to the decision of our committee as to whether you get your grant funded or not. You can start the program wherever you are in your language journey. Administration for the grant is handled by the youth, including the application and all reporting. And the youth is awarded $25 an hour for their immersion hours after each 100 hours of reporting is completed and submitted. In the YES program, we support 3 different career paths in language revitalization. The first one is as an immersion teacher, so someone who's teaching the language through immersion and in a band or public school. The other stream is an ECE worker, so you're working in a childcare center, you're working in a language nest, and you're providing immersion for young children. And our third stream we have is the language revitalization stream. For this stream, you could be a language administrator, a tech person, a planner, a project manager, and many more different options. In this third stream, though, we just ask that you send us an email to let us know what your career path is, just to get approval from us before going on and doing the application, as the career needs to relate back to language revitalization. So this slide goes over how the program works, and I will definitely say it's the big picture. This is what the program looks like over several years. You will hear or see different numbers depending on where you look, but it's commonly regarded that it takes between 900 and 1,000 hours to become proficient speaker of language. So that is why we aim for such a high number of hours. For someone who wanted to become an immersion teacher, their time in the YES program would consist of the following. The first component is the Mentor-Apprentice hours. So this is the one-on-one language learning or immersion between the youth and the mentor, who is a fluent speaker, for 900 hours. The second component is the work experiences. So during the summer, the youth completes a community internship, and the goal of the internship is for the youth to be creating language resources. This will look differently for each community depending on what their needs are, but youth work with the community to create these resources and use their language skills to be able to share these resources with others. And lastly, there's the education piece. So the youth will be attending the post-secondary for a Bachelor of Education degree. And then for the second stream, which is the ECE worker, it's slightly different, but the same pattern over a couple years. So the ECE would be completing 900 MAP hours, which is the one-on-one language immersion with their mentor. Then they would also gain their work experience through an internship in a childcare setting or daycare to use the language around young children. And then their formal education would be, they would end up with their ECE certification. Same goes for our third stream, which is language revitalization. So the youth would work with their fluent speaker, doing the Mentor-Apprentice hours of up to 900 hours. They then would be doing a summer internship for general language programs, working in the community, maybe creating resources to share with others. And then they would also be doing their post-secondary education as well. So how much funding can I get? So if you're looking for an exact number, you can have a look in our funding guide on our website. This is just kind of like a quick breakdown just to give you an idea of what the grant covers. So the Mentor-Apprentice part of the grant, so the youth stipend is $25 an hour. The mentor stipend is $40 an hour. So if the youth completes 100 hours over the summer, they would be getting $2,500. And if the mentor completes the 100 hours as well with the youth, then they'll be getting paid $4,000. We also have an in-person training in May, and you will receive a travel grant to get to that as well. So we will provide you with a travel grant to accommodate you getting to and from your community to get to the in-person training, and you will get your food and travel costs covered to attend. The community internship, you'll be getting $25 an hour plus benefits. There will be a 10% admin fee for the community, and this is 20 hours a week for 16 weeks. And this is paid directly to the community organization as well. So there are 3 funding options for the YES program. It's a 10-month program, so the youth can choose to do 100, 200, or 300 language immersion hours. So this grid just goes based off of those hours. So the youth apprentice honorarium is $25 per hour up to 300 hours. So if the youth chooses to do 100 hours, they'll get $2,500. If the youth chooses to do 200 immersion hours, they'll get $5,000. And if they choose to do 300 hours, they'll get up to $7,500. The mentor honorarium is $40 per hour for up to 300 hours. So again, for 100 hours, it's $4,000 for the mentor. 200 hours is $8,000 and 300 hours is $12,000. So if you are working with more than one mentor, these amounts will be split between your mentors. And it's paid to you after every 100 hours of reporting. So you also have to do evaluation sessions, and depending if you're doing 100, 200, or 300 hours, each panel member will receive $150 for participating, and you'll also get $50 for refreshments. So a maximum total evaluation is $500. And these are completed after every 100 hours of immersion as well, and it's up to 3 per year. So if you are enrolled in 100 hours, you'll get $500, 200 hours, you'll get $1,000, and 300 hours, you'll get $1,500. So this is just a continuation of the funding options for the YES program. You'll get your community internship as well. So that's $25 per hour plus the 15% benefits. The youth will do up to 320 hours, which works out to 20 hours a week for 16 weeks maximum. And then we do also pay the community organization 10% as well. And this goes directly to the community organization as well. We do have a funding agreement, and then the money is sent directly to them, and then they pay the youth for the hours worked. So that's a maximum of 10,120 for the internship. And then we also have an additional technology stipend as well. So this is a one-time stipend that may be granted as needed. And this is to purchase recording devices, microphones, a laptop, something that you might need to support your language learning. And the receipt must be for the current school year, and it must be submitted for approval. So you must let us know what you want to purchase before you go out and buy it, and then once you buy it, we reimbursed you for that as well. So that's up for a maximum of $1,200. So if the overall total grant amount is maximum for 100 hours is 18,320. If you choose to do the 200 hours, it's 25,320. And if you choose to do the full 300 hours, it works out to $32,320. So an overview of the Youth Empowered Speakers program. It's for youth who want to actively pass on the language to others, such as a career as an early childhood educator, a language immersion teacher, or a career in language revitalization. Youth can choose between 100, 200, or 300 language immersion hours per program year. There's a paid work community internship, May to August, which usually takes place during the summer months. The max amount is 16 weeks or 320 hours. So ideally how it works is you'll be doing the bulk of your language immersion hours in the summer. And then working in your internship as well. So between the paid work internship and your language immersion hours, it works out to a full-time summer job. And then the youth will work on, if they choose to do the 300 hours language immersion, they'll have the rest of their year to complete the rest of their language immersion hours when they go back to school. The one-on-one language immersion program is based on daily and traditional activities, and our program runs from May 1st, 2026 to March 1st, 2027, which is 10 months. So what's really unique about the Youth Empowered Speakers program is really dependent on the youth and their schooling schedule, as every program is different, every school year is different and unique. So we really try to work with the youth and their school schedule to make sure that they're successful. So how to apply. In this section, we'll go over the application timeline. How to apply overview, we'll give you some general tips, and how to apply details. So YES application timeline. So the YES application deadline is January 13th, 2026. Their applications go to a review process at the end of January 2026. Our shortlisting process takes place early February 2026. Signed funding agreements with FPCC are due back mid-February 2026. Then we have training and orientation, which happens in person May 1st to 3rd, 2026. And then language hours and reports are all due to us by no later than March 1st, 2027. Additional notes is for the in-person training and orientation for you and your mentor to attend, you will get a travel grant to cover food expenses, mileage, getting to and from your community to the training, as well as hotel accommodations. So if you are successful, we will help walk you through all of this and explain it to you as well. So how to apply overview. Um, we've included some screenshots to give you an overview on how to apply to the program. We strongly encourage anyone who has any questions to have a read through our funding guide that's linked on our website. And just check your eligibility and make sure you have the availability to do the program hours. And then you're going to find a mentor or mentors to work with. You're allowed to work with up to 3 mentors in the program. And then you're also going to download our work term guide and go over this information with potential supervisors from your community that's willing to supervise your internship. So we do require 2 potential supervisors to be listed in the application, and this is just in case one placement falls through. You're going to go ahead and register on the grant portal and begin your application. And then you're going to apply for a post-secondary program or submit your proof enrollment to us by June 26, 2026. And then you're going to gather and type all your information into the application for you, as well as you're going to need some information from your mentor or mentors. So I'm going to give you a brief overview on how to apply and a description of what you'll need to collect for your application. The youth and the mentor will each need to provide a letter of intent. This can be brief with a couple of paragraphs to explain why you want to be in the program, level of fluency or lack of fluency, etc. The youth and the mentor will also require a resume and/or biography. This doesn't have to be a full CV, but it can be. Sometimes people like to list the way that they've been involved in language or cultural involvement, etc. We will also ask you for a letter of support for you and your mentor from someone in the community. It should be a respected community member and does not need to be from Chief and Council, but it should not be from an immediate family member. We really just want to know if this team will be successful before we offer funding. And ideally, the person can speak to the strength of the relationship between the youth and mentor. Or if the youth and mentor don't know each other, they can just speak to the commitment that they are both showing to be involved. We will also need you to sit down with your mentor or mentors and plan your schedule. You can apply with up to 3 mentors. So you would still need to do the language one-on-one with each of them at different times. But sometimes if you can't find a mentor who's available for the full amount of hours, or there may be other mentors bringing slightly different skills to the table that you want to learn from each of them. For the mentors, we will also need their legal name, contact information, age range, and nation. So you will need to sit down with them to get each of that information from your mentors. So from your community, you'll need a signed and dated letter of support from the community, contact information from 2 potential supervisors from a BC First Nation organization or community. It could be a daycare or school, an immersion school, someone who agrees to support your work term. And then the final piece that you'll need to submit is from the university or college, which is your proof of enrollment, and that must be provided to us through email by June 26, 2026. So some general tips overall. Refer to the funding guide as you go. There's a lot of good information in there that really breaks it down section by section, so and gives you an idea of what we're looking for. So if you're getting stuck in the application, make sure you're referring to the funding guide as you go. Number 2, provide some details about your goals, plans, etc. This is always really helpful if you have the opportunity to share with your family. It's always really helpful if you can go into as much details as you can about how you're going to share the language learning with your family, etc. The more details you put in there, the more helpful it is to us to give us a clear picture. Make sure you're setting some time to meet with your mentor or mentors to fill in their portions of the application, and also make sure that you're creating the schedule that works for all of you. And ask us for support. You can always email us or call us. If you reach out by December 7th to ensure we have enough time for one-on-one support, this will give time to go read through your application, answer any questions you have before you submit the deadline of January 13th. Please note that our staff often take holidays at this time of year, so reaching out in November or early December assures you get a personal response. And if you're asking for feedback on your application, it gives us enough time to review it and connect with you and answer any questions or clarify things as we go. So you will need to create your grant portal account to apply. So you'll just log into fpcc.ca /login, and make sure that you're using an email that you check regularly and with a password that you will not forget. Anything with the red asterisk is a required field and needs to be submitted in your application. So often if you go hit submit and it won't let you for some reason, it might be because one of the fields is not filled out, and it usually prompts you as to which one you need to go back and complete. And if you have access to a computer, fill in the application on your desktop rather than a cell phone. It's just so much easier and bigger and easier to do. And make sure you're always remembering to hit save as you go. So some general tips around team administration. Unless otherwise indicated, the youth is the team administrator. So they're the primary contact for First People Cultural Council, and the grant portal account should be the youth account. The administrator is also responsible for all written correspondence directed to the team and will be sent to the administrator, being the primary point of contact for First Peoples Cultural Council, and also completing all yes reports and submitting to FPC by the provided deadlines. So you will also need a letter of intent ×2. So you must include one for yourself as the youth and one from your mentor. Just a note, if you're working with more than one mentor, ensure that you're including one for each of your mentors. So a letter of intent for the youth, a letter of intent for mentor number 1, 2, and 3. Your letter should describe your level of fluency. For the mentors, they must be fluent in the language, your availability and commitment for this work, and any current involvement with the language. So language learning goals and outcomes. As we mentioned previously, please describe your goals that you are planning to do in these 100, 200, or 300 hours. We also want to hear about how you're going to pass this language on to others. So list any topic areas you are interested in learning: prayer, song, cultural protocols, introductions, plants, medicines, etc. We also want you to describe their current language level. But like we said previously, there is no requirement that you have any knowledge of the language before you start. So you'll also need to complete a schedule, and just note that staying on track allows for any needed flexibility. The language schedule that you would do with your mentor will be a pop-out. So you'll just click on that red button there that says schedule worksheet, and it'll pop out and give you a chance to add your hours that you want to meet weekly. And just be sure to think carefully when you can meet with your mentor or mentors, just to ensure that you're meeting your language goals. And this will also be based on how many hours you choose to do in the program. So 100, 200, or 300 hours. You'll fill out that schedule based on how many hours you will need to meet weekly through the course of the 10 months to complete either the 100, 200, or 300 hours. So the language learning presentation, after each 100 hours, the youth will put together a presentation or showcase of their language learning. We ask that on your application that you provide 3 names of fluent panel members that are willing to be on your presentation. So your panel members will provide feedback and tips to help steer you and your language goals after each 100 hours. So try to pick people who are really supportive in your learning, someone who will hold you up and give you helpful and critical feedback. And the names of the 3 fluent people, they must be different than your mentor or mentors. So they'll be on your panel for once you do your 100-hour presentations. And it's for your benefit, and just invite those who will hold you up and really give you some good feedback on your language learning. So resume and biographies. I think we already went over this slide for resumes and biographies, but we are looking for what kind of community and culture involvement you've had, what kind of positions maybe you've held within community with regards to language revitalization. And again, is the mentor really fluent? And you will need to complete this for both the youth and the mentor. So these are just some other little tips for you to include in your application. So for the community letter of support, applications also must include 1 letter of support from a community for the team. This letter is ideally written by a respected community member. It's better to ask someone who's not closely related to you or the mentor, so not a spouse or immediate family member. And the letter should be able to speak to your strength of the relationship between the mentor and the youth, or the probable success of the team in meeting their goals. So how is the team going to succeed in the program? So shortlisted applications, applicants will need to complete a few steps to get into the program. We will be contacting you at the end of February, and please keep an eye on your email during this time. The shortlisting steps will include getting some information from you and your mentor as well. And for unsuccessful applicants, you will also be notified, and you can apply again when we open applications back up next year. And you will also be given specific feedback to assist you to have a successful application, hopefully the next time around you apply. So any questions you have, please contact us. This is my email and phone number. You can always reach me at yes@fpcc.ca. And my cell phone is 250-883-1793. And my work phone is 250-652-5952, extension 119. I've also listed our coordinator, Aurora Scala, as well. If you need any clarification on any of the sections, you can also reach out to her at aurora@fpcc.ca, and her phone number is 250-652-5952, extension 209. Please, like I said, we're here to help you, and with that, we wish you all the best success. Hajka.